Have you ever maybe called someone antisocial just because they seem quiet or prefer staying
Oh,
in?
yeah, all the time.
Or maybe you've heard asocial and thought, okay, that just sounds rude. And don't even get me started on social anxiety, often just brushed off as being really shy, right?
Exactly. These terms get tossed around so much, and honestly, they're mostly misunderstood. It leads to a lot of confusion and sometimes, well, some pretty unfair judgments.
Right. Which is why we're doing this deep dive today.
Precisely. We're drawing on some excellent notes here from Kanimamba Koza, who's an MSc Psychology candidate. And our goal, really, is to cut through all that noise.
To get clear on what these different behaviors and conditions actually mean.
Yes, and understand their real impact.
Because getting this right isn't just about, using the right words. It's important for compassion, for seeing people clearly.
And for avoiding those snap judgments that can be quite harmful.
Definitely. Okay, so
Awesome.
let's unpack this. Where do we begin?
Well, I think starting with the antisocial makes sense. It's probably the one that's most misused.
Okay, so the common idea is someone shy maybe keeps to themselves.
That's the popular image, yeah.
Yeah.
But the clinical reality, it's dramatically different.
Different how? What's the core thing we're missing?
Well, in clinical terms, antisocial almost always points to antisocial personality disorder, ASPD.
Hmm.
And that's, well, it's not about being shy or liking alone time at all.
Okay, so what is it about them?
It's a serious mental health condition. It's defined by this pervasive pattern of disregard for other people's rights. We're talking consistent lying, manipulation,
Manipulation, wow.
and often a complete lack of remorse for what they do. Sometimes it involves criminal behavior, too.
So way beyond just wanting a quiet night in. The notes mention specific traits, like zero empathy, deceitfulness, aggression, being really irresponsible.
Exactly those things. And the lack of empathy, the lack of remorse, that's what can make it so insidious. Because they often don't see their actions as wrong. It means the manipulation can be quite effective, actually, and hard to spot sometimes. They're not just ignoring social norms. They're actively violating them, often without a second thought about the harm they cause.
Right, so the key message is ASPD isn't shyness. It's a harmful disorder that actively goes against others and society's norms.
That's the core distinction. It's about harm, not avoidance.
Okay, that's a really important clarification. So if that's antisocial, what about being asocial? That one also gets confused. Sometimes people think it just means rude or unfriendly.
Yeah. Yes. This is where it gets really interesting, actually, because asociality is in many ways the opposite of those assumptions.
Opposite how?
Asocial people don't disregard others' rights. They aren't necessarily acting out of malice or anything like that. It's simpler.
Mm.
They just prefer solitude, or they have little interest in social interaction.
So it's a preference. Like they genuinely enjoy their own company, maybe just one or two close friends, and that's it.
Pretty much. Think of it like preferring quiet hobbies over big parties. The notes highlight they like being alone. Crucially, they aren't harmful.
And not necessarily anxious either. That's a key point from the notes.
Right. Not necessarily anxious. It could just be their personality preference. Or sometimes, people might become temporarily asocial if they're just emotionally drained and need to recharge.
Okay, so it's not a disorder. That's the important message here.
Definitely not a disorder. It's more about personality or maybe a temporary state. It falls within the range of, well, normal human variation.
Got it. That clears up a lot. Okay, so we have ASPD, which is harmful disregard, and asociality, which is a preference for solitude. Now, let's tackle social anxiety disorder, SAD.
Right. SAB.
The common idea here is often, oh, they're just really shy, or maybe even feeling personally slighted, like they're avoiding me.
Mm-hmm. And that misses the core of it. SA involves this really intense, sometimes paralyzing fear.
Fear of what specifically?
Fear of being judged or scrutinized or embarrassing themselves in social situations. It's this overwhelming fear that drives the avoidance.
So the avoidance isn't about disliking people.
Not usually, no. It's driven by this deep internal distress, this powerful desire not to mess up, not by a lack of interest in connecting or any sort of malice.
That sounds exhausting. The notes mention things like deep self-consciousness, that fear of embarrassment, but also physical symptoms, like sweating, trembling.
Oh, absolutely. You can have very real physical manifestations. It's not just in the mind, it affects the body. And it can really shut a person down socially.
So the core message here, there's a paradox, isn't there?
Yes, exactly. People with SAD often really want connection. They want to interact, but the fear it overwhelms that desire.
That's quite tragic, really. But the notes also say it's treatable.
Very much so. That's crucial. It's a treatable condition, not some fixed personality flaw they're stuck with. Therapy, sometimes medication, can make a huge difference.
Okay, so we've looked at them individually. ASPD, Asocial, SAD. Let's try and synthesize this, put them side by side. The source had a good comparative summary.
Yeah, lining them up really highlights how different they are, despite how often they get mixed up.
Okay, so ASPD.
ASPD. Harms others, lacks empathy, it's a serious disorder, needs clinical attention.
Right. Asocial.
Asocial. Prefers solitude, maybe low interest in socializing, but not harmful. It's a preference, not a disorder.
And finally, SAD.
SAD. Social anxiety disorder. Wants to socialize, wants connection, but is overwhelmed by fear of judgment. Avoids situations due to fear, and importantly, it's a treatable anxiety condition.
That comparison makes it so clear. Okay, so let's pull out the really key takeaways for everyone listening based on Connie Mumba's work. What absolutely needs to stick?
Okay, first, not all quiet people are antisocial. Please remember that one.
Crucial. What else?
Second, ASPD is about actively harming others, not just avoiding them. Big difference.
Got it. Harm versus avoidance?
Third, social anxiety is real. It's a genuine struggle. It's not just rudeness or being stuck up.
Empathy there is key.
Fourth, asociality is not a mental illness. It's okay to prefer your own company.
Okay, and the last one.
And the overarching point, really, support is always more helpful than judgment. Try to understand before labeling.
That's a great summary. Now, if we kind of zoom out, connect these insights to the bigger picture, what are the broader cultural messages here? The source mentioned some for awareness.
Yeah, this is about building a more empathetic society, really. Understanding these distinctions helps us do that.
So what are some of those key cultural shifts in thinking?
Well, one big one is realizing being afraid of people isn't disrespect. It could very well be anxiety, like with SAD. That changes how you might react to someone who seems withdrawn.
Instead of taking it personally.
Exactly. Then there's the idea that hurting others without guilt. That's not strength. It's not being tough. It might actually be a sign of a serious disorder like ASPD.
That counters some maybe toxic ideas about strength.
Definitely. And perhaps most importantly, mental illness isn't a curse or a character flaw. It's a health issue. Like SAD, it often can be treated. That message reduces stigma and encourages people to seek help.
So the overall cultural theme is?
Let's support, not shame. Let's aim for understanding.
Wow. What a necessary deep dive this has been. So just to recap for everyone, quiet doesn't equal antisocial. Preferring solitude isn't the same as being rude. And intense fear isn't disrespect. Knowing the difference, it just helps us talk about things more accurately and, well, approach each other with a lot more understanding.
It really does. And maybe this raises a final thought for you listening right now. Now that you understand these distinctions a bit better, how might you approach someone differently next time? Or maybe rethink a judgment you might have made in the past based on what we've unpacked today.